Today's video is sponsored by EA. Yay. Hey everyone, it's Ashton here, and I hope you're all having a fantastic day. So, being just over a week into the season now, I figured it was about time I brought you guys my ranked guide for Season 8 of Apex Legends. Some of the things we're going to be covering in today's video include team composition, the playstyle you should adopt whilst playing ranked, the mentality you should adopt while playing ranked, Kings Canyon as a map in general, and other general tips that you can apply to any ranked tier that you play in, be it Silver all the way up to Apex Predator.
This is breaking news. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to drop it a like and subscribe to the channel for more regular Apex Legends content. Forecasts predict that we are having tier lists incoming very soon, as well as other interesting and exciting Apex Legends content. This has been Gassy McStinkerman with your Apex Legends breaking news.
So guys, here we have it, Apex Legends Season 8 Ranked Split 1. We are presented with this glorious map, Kings Canyon, said no one. And I know many of you are going to hate that I said that, but guys, I enjoy this map. For pubs. Not ranked. That being said, Kings Canyon is what we have to deal with this split in Apex Legends Ranked, and we will deal with it. We won't only deal with it, we'll thrive. We will gain as much RP as humanly possible, because that is the way of the grinders, the ranked grinders. I love ranked. Anyway, as you can see already, I've reached Apex Predator within the first week or so, and it wasn't exactly that hard. I mean, not that many people are grinding ranked on console right now, and there are a few really good players out there, especially on PlayStation. I'll be honest, all of Xbox's good players have kind of bounced and gone to PC, but there are still plenty PlayStation grinders out there, and a few decent Xbox players as well, so the challenge is still there a little bit, and of course when RP is on the line, everyone is going to be playing like absolute gremlins. So today I'm going to be telling you what I found to be the easiest way to gain RP on this map, and the way that will keep you sane for the longest, and you'll be happy after coming out of a ranked sesh, not stressed and clawing your eyes out. So as promised, the first area we're going to be covering is of course the team composition that you should be running in this season's ranked split, and honestly, this is the first split in a while that I can say there is a ton of variation of what you can run depending on what playstyle you have. That being said, I do think there are stronger playstyles than other, but we'll get onto that later. Many of you will already know that there are some legends that suit the map Kings Canyon more than others. Those obviously include Gassy McStinkerman himself, Thick Thighs Terry, and the latest addition to the Kings Canyon gang, Scotland Forever.
Scotland Forever!
I'd say it's normal to expect one of these three legends on every single team that you're going to come up against, especially in the higher ranks from around Platinum onwards. That is mainly of course because these three legends are deemed by most of the community to be the strongest legends in the game right now, and definitely suit the way Kings Canyon plays as a map, especially Caustic, who is about the only legend in the game right now who can just about cover your back from the third party, which is pretty inevitable when you fight on this map. As well as that, one of the only effective ways to counter a Caustic is of course to have a Caustic yourself, so that is another reason why you're seeing so many Caustics running around at the moment. You've got Horizon, who can get you on height at any given moment with a very short cooldown on her tacticals, so she is extremely powerful at the moment, and I'd say most good teams have her on because she can get you anywhere you want at any point at all. As well as that, you've also got Gibraltar, which has a whole handbag full of different abilities that he can pull from, be it his arm shield, his bubble shield, his fast res, you name it, he's got it. That being said, these aren't the only three effective legends on this map. I've played pretty much every single legend you can imagine, trying to find which is the most effective team comp to run this season. I've literally run so many different legends in this first week, it's crazy. After playing so many different matches as so many different legends, we found that different comps suited different playstyles better, and that's exactly what you'd expect of course. And the team comp that best suited our method of gaining RP was in fact Crypto, Horizon and Gibraltar. That being said, you're still going to see a lot of Caustics around because obviously he is extremely strong, a lot of Wraiths, a lot of Bangalores from those teams who just love to W key you all the time, and unfortunately we're seeing an uprising in Revenants due to the fact that a lot of people see it as an easy and safe way to third party fights on this map. And yeah, that doesn't really make me that mad. I mean, I just love Revenants so much. I
swear, if I see one more Revenant in my lobby, I'm going to destroy.
So a lot of the time, consistently gaining RP on this map comes down to one thing, and that's playstyle. Even the best teams in the game and professional teams are finding that this split, it's not exactly easy, or even possible in some cases, to just push everything and fight everything you see, no matter how much you want to, because regardless of how good you are, you aren't going to be able to fight off 2 or 3 teams at the same time, and with the way that Kings Canyon plays and flows, that's exactly what you're going to have to do if you see yourself taking fights early or even in the middle of the match. This split more than ever, you have to be very, very careful about how you are approaching and taking fights. As you can see by this piece of gameplay here, this is exactly how long it takes for so many teams to surround us in the blink of an eye. After one shot is fired, we are surrounded by this many teams.
What?
As you can imagine, this is extremely frustrating, especially in the higher ranks where every single team that you're coming up against is definitely capable of killing you, regardless of how good you are at the game. Night after night of consistent, frustrating losses, we decided that there was only one way to get around this problem. Don't fight until the end game. As you can imagine, this is pretty boring, and it's frustrating that that's the way you have to play this time on Ranked, but hey, sometimes you've got to do what you got to do to get RP, and when you're in those higher ranks, you definitely have to do whatever it takes to get into the next tier. Doesn't matter what your opponents think, so long as at the end of the game, you're the one rocking out with full RP. Having said that, what we do is we take the ring data using the recon beacon at the start of every single match. Usually we land next to one, so it's not really a problem for us. We use a character like Crypto or Bloodhound to take that data, see where the ring's gonna pull, and we rotate super early so that we have the best positioning for endgame. Then we'll pretty much just defend that area for the rest of the game, making sure no one takes our positioning from us. The fights come to us rather than us going into the fights, meaning we know exactly what's coming at us from all times. It especially helps to have Crypto on the team who can check banners to see how many squads are in the surrounding area, so we know whether or not to expect a third party. Now when it does get to that stage in the game where there are other squads taking up position around us, we'll always keep our eye out for any potentially thirdable fights so that we can pick up some easy RP. With that being said, even when you are thirding these easy fights to take points from, you've got to remember that another team could jump on top of you, and more often than not they will, so we'll only take guaranteed points if they present themselves. We've also found that engaging in long distance fights, or as we call them, poke fests, it's definitely not worth it, as it's only going to attract more teams to you, and those teams are going to think that you're in the middle of a fight and probably just push you and make life very annoying for you. So to sum it up, to make it to late game consistently on Kings Canyon, you've got to rotate early and take up positioning. As I mentioned briefly at the beginning, I did want to talk about the mentality you should take up whilst playing Kings Canyon Ranked, and I do think it's a really important point to talk about. Something that we've found for this map is that we've had to completely change up our mentality of how we're going to approach fights and different situations because of the map that we're playing on. When presented with a fight early game, most of the time we'd be often very inclined to take that fight because we know that it could deal some easy points, mean that we get some easy loot, and are set for the rest of the game. However, we found that in Kings Canyon, especially this season, more often than not, before the fight's over, we get third-partied and our game is ruined. With that in mind, we've decided to analyse every single fight that we take, think about how quickly we can kill that team, whether or not they know we're coming, and if it's going to be a bit of a poke fest or a long distance fight, how far the ring is and how long we've got left to rotate, and ultimately if it's even worth our time at all. A lot of the time patience will pay off if you have the positioning in this map, so as much as it hurts to run away from what looks like a fair fight, more often than not it's the smart thing to do. You've also got to be prepared to take a lot of losses on the chin this season, because a lot of the time there's just nothing you can do about it. We all know how rampant the third parties are this season, and some of the abilities in combination are just uncounterable, and honestly, you've just got to be prepared to take that on the chin and say, there was nothing we could do about that loss. It can be demoralizing, but don't let it be. Just crack on with the next game, go again, and try and get some RP. Don't let the last game you played affect your mood negatively for the next match, as it's only going to make you play worse in the long run. So, everyone's favourite map, Kings Canyon. I did want to have a section talking about this specifically, as a lot of you are going to want to know the ins and outs of how this map should be played. And yeah, there's some areas in which I definitely will never step foot in ranked, or try my absolute best to avoid if possible, and I'm going to share them with you right here. As you can see, I am the Picasso of Apex Legends, and I've devised a colourful map for you guys to show you where exactly I'm okay with rotating through, where I'll probably try to avoid if possible, but don't mind going if I have to, and some absolute no-go zones in red, because just don't go here, it's literally not worth it. 9 times out of 10 you will die. So as you can see, most of the map is in orange and red, and yeah, I know that's like not really that helpful for you guys, but honestly I think if you're in one of those orange or red zones, you have to be at high alert at all times, because you're likely to be approached from any angle, and if you take fights in these places, you're very likely to be third party. The reason in which these areas are orange and red are because they are areas that have a lot of traffic. They're high traffic areas because they are actually central to a lot of different POIs, or have links to a lot of different POIs, or just have a lot of different choke points going off to different highly populated areas of the map, and more often than not, a lot of players will converge in these areas whilst trying to rotate. So if you find yourself in these areas, make sure that you're only passing through and you don't intend to stay there for a while, because if you stay there, everyone else is going to come to you. I think it's also worth mentioning that a lot of the ring pulls on this map can be pretty sus, to say the least. I mean, what is this? Please, someone tell me what this is. Again, this is just further reason as to why you should rotate early, because sometimes if you don't, it's gonna be the reason that you died. With all that being said, I did want to give you guys some other non-specific Season 8 tips that you can apply to your ranked games that maybe don't just apply for Season 8 for Kings Canyon, but also for Olympus and for future seasons in other maps as well. One of the tips that I wanted to bring you guys is that when you go a man down, don't all of a sudden throw everything out of the window and start panicking. I see this so much, and that is not the way to carry on a fight. So often 2v3 you can clutch up if you just concentrate, make sure the communication is flowing between you and your teammate, and definitely pair up, try and single out one enemy from the enemy team, and all of a sudden you can find yourself in a 2v2 situation, which is obviously so winnable. So often I'll see one teammate absolutely run for the hills as soon as one of their teammates is knocked, and that is just absolutely the worst thing you can possibly do. Ratting out for a few placement points is never the way forward. You're never going to improve that way, and you should always just try and fight the 2v3 situation, because more often than not you'll surprise yourself and potentially come out on top. If your team finds themselves with only 2 members left with one teammate's banner having timed out, don't fear, you can still win the match. Playing to your legend's strength in this situation is absolutely vital, and making your team appear big, which means spreading yourself and actively fighting off any enemies and not just running away, that will help you survive this situation. Cowering in corners and making yourself look vulnerable is never the way to approach this situation at all. If other teams sense that you're in a weak position and don't want to fight, they will push you and kill you very quickly, but if you fend off making yourself look big and confident, they are less likely to be keen to push you, and you're more likely to survive. Now, more often than not in previous seasons of Ranked, I'd say it's important to run a weapon that is capable of long and medium range, as well as a close range weapon for backup, but this season I'd say it's definitely mostly about the medium range and close range engagements. Fights on Kings Canyon can get frantic pretty quickly, and having a charge rifle in your back pocket is going to be no good when you're fighting off the 5th party. Having a gun that is capable of those long and medium range engagements like the R301, but also a really strong close range weapon like the R99 or the Mastiff in your back pocket is definitely the way to go on this map in my opinion. Another tip for you guys is to third party correctly. Now, nothing is more infuriating when a team third parties you too early. Even when you're one of the original teams fighting, if you get third party too early, it can ruin everything and both teams can get out absolutely safe. What I mean by this is when a team fights you or starts shooting you when you're in the middle of a fight, more often than not, you're going to say, hey, a team's third partying us, let's get out. And more often than not, if you do get out, then that team is not going to want to third party anymore because they realise that you've got out and you've reset and you're now healthy, and the original team is also healthy, and now there are 3 teams in the area, all healthy, all ready to fight, and more likely than not, you're all just going to rotate away, the number of teams alive in the lobby is not going to go down, and everyone loses. If you are going to third party on this map, make sure you do it properly. third party when there are at least 2 knocked, if not just when the squad wipe has happened, so you can guarantee yourself a much easier wipe for yourself, and at least the team that you're third partying is going to get the points off of the team that they've just fought. But guys, with all of that being said, that is the end of today's video. I hope you have enjoyed this ranked guide. I put a ton of effort into it for you guys. I really enjoyed making this one, and hope you guys enjoyed it too. My next video is of course going to be my first tier list for Apex Legends Season 8, and it is going to be the weapons tier list. So if you're looking forward to that one, make sure to drop the video a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future content. But with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy, and goodbye.